this is another video. Welcome back. This is a video on disassembling and rebuilding an MCD limited slip diff. Let's get into it. What we'll need, obviously, the diff, and we need hex keys, pair of pliers. Doesn't really need a drill, but I find it easier, and some bits. I just use an extension as well. And you need some you cat de SRG. That's actually red and tacky grease, but I'm reading it backwards, so, and you're probably saying it backwards. We'll get that out of the way for now. We don't need that at the minute. Put the hammer over here. I'll be doing things. So we'll start by removing the 4 3mm hex keys, hex heads that down on the top. 3mm. Tell you what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put some gloves on because it gets absolutely lifting in here. Here we go. Because I've had these, if you're holding it like this, I've had these get really tight and spin, and these gears sort of remove a lot of skin from your finger, so just be careful. Look at that, I've went and getting the wrong Allen key bit. We'll try again. One, 2, 3, 4. That's the amount. Shouldn't need that anymore. I've got a piece of A4 paper here at the side of us. That's where I put all the bits and bobs. Right, you need a little pick or of some description. Anything with a point on really will do if you can get. I normally spin it. You've got a little indent, a little groove in the cup. We'll get a screwdriver out. We'll use a proper tool. That one over. And then under, this is where you normally stab yourself, and I like to flick it into the inside, and there it's off. Use the Allen key to poke the pin out, pop that on the paper. Then you've got your drive cup, and you've got your locking ring, and your bearing, and then this should pop off. But look at the clip of that in there. This hasn't been done for a while. It's been in my hauler, this one. This is a spare diff. That's not nice. So pliers, look, see what I mean? That's off the gears, and that would have been my fingers. I've got the pin. The main gear comes out. The diff ramp comes out. You'll see all these again when they've cleaned them up. And these are your clutch pads. You've got 3. There's different ways you can put these in to give you different diff actions. So we'll pop them on there. You also get an sealing O-ring and a shim. We'll put them on there as well, along with the crown gear. We'll get the pliers in and pull the 2 main gears out. These come on a shaft, but we'll put them to one side. Pop that to one side, and we'll start on this end. I find it easy if you just get that onto the edge, right of the hole, and you can slide the driver in and flick, comes off, push the pin out, same as the other side, cup, lock and ring, bearing, main gear pushes through, you should be able to pull it out, and then you've got in here, you've got your locating pins, 4 of them. I only pulled 3 out, one got stuck in the gear, and now you should be able to get your bottom diff ramp out and your bottom clutch plates. One. Oh, but the rest of them stuck to the bottom of this. Yeah, there's the other 2 there. And there's the other 2 clutch plates. And that is a dirty diff. I'll just use a screwdriver to clean most of that out. Right. All these I'll just put it on the edge of the paper. I'll get a new bit later. I mean, this red and tacky stuff is good. Like that. And that's the disassembly of a diff. It doesn't take 2 minutes. It's not a hard job, but it's a dirty job. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean it all up, and then I'll be back to show you how to put it back together. Right, these are the cleaned up diff bits. If you're wondering what I clean them with, it is just brake and clutch cleaner in a jug and an old paintbrush, and that's it. You can see these ramps, and you can see everything a bit better now. You've got the case. I say these cases aren't the best. I don't like these cases. Luckily the fronts never really seem to crack. I've never had a front crack on us. I say this is a front diff, the overdrive gearing. I've never had a diff crack on us, a front one anyway. A rear, like I said in a previous video, I've had two crack on us, and they all seem to crack around this joint here. Must be really thin in this area here on the inside. I'm not sure why it happens. Maybe it's just the design flaw with it being a bit thin, but it seems to happen on the rear with me. There's a gear, crown gear. This is an overdrive gear. It's a bit chewed up, but it still works. Overdrive gear ratio is 2.84 if anyone's interested. We've got your diff ramps. On these you've got 120 degree and 90 degree ramps. You can see this one's a bit steeper, this one's a bit shallower. 120 I used to use in the center, or was it? No, 120 I used to use in the front. In fact I'm not entirely sure which way it was, but I'm now running 0 in the center, and I will do this one as I'll build this up as a 120 on the overdrive. Other side, and it matches. You've got a 120 and a 90. These are your drive cups, 3-ball drive. Pretty self-explanatory. These are your diff locking plates. The way they work is, the way the diff works is, it's probably easier to show you while it's in the in the case, but I'll try and explain it now. This is your diff gear, your ramp, your gear post, gear shaft, and this sits on them ramps. When you're turning hard into the corner, centrifugal force pushes this, it's probably easier to say on the 120, lifts this, and it rides up these gears, it rides up these ramps on the ramps. So that's your standard. When you're hard into the turn or hard on acceleration, this rides up the ramp. You can see, I'm not sure if you can see the little gap there, which in turn pushes these gears out. It'll push them up and out, like so. It'll ramp up and it'll push it against. It'll push this and this. You see, once the ramp out, it'll sort of twist like that sort of motion, and it pushes these apart, which in turn pushes against the back of this one onto this pad, which is fixed in the housing with these 4 pins here. So this center one will not spin, the 2 outer ones will spin, and as this pushes out, as this pushes out, it'll push onto the plate, onto the fixed plate, onto the inside of the case. You'll see where it's worn on the inside of the case, which gives you a locking action on the diff. And apparently, well, not apparently, it does work. The diffs work. Very good design. I like them. But yeah, that's pretty much. I hope I've explained that correctly. There might be someone out there that can explain it a bit better than me. But other than that, that's the principle of how the diff works. We will start. Where's them 2 O-rings gone? Where did I put them? Oops. Dear me. Alright, apparently they're not here. 2, oh there they are, there's the 2 O-rings, man. We'll sort this back, we'll have a nice pile again. Plates. 2, 4 screws. These are brand new diff shims. The other ones are ruined. I'll show you them in a second. Them together, them together, them together, them together. I could just grab them old diff shims. These are the old diff shims. I mean, look at them. I think they've done 2 seasons. Probably should have been changed before that, but I mean they're extremely thin, them. And to me, they didn't even look like the right shim. So maybe they are. They're slightly white. It does say diff shim on my packet that I've just opened. Fresh packet. LSD diff shim 10 by 16 by 1. Have any more? Rings. Packets and packets of junk. 4 rings. Diff rings. Diff rings. We'll have some more. 10 by 16 by 5. 10 by 16 by 1. We'll give them a shot. What you do is you shim the diff so there's no movement in the gears. But with these, I don't think, because these are quite thick, I don't think we're going to need many shims in there. So what we'll do is we'll start a bit of grease. red and tacky, my favourite stuff. And we'll just give it a rub on the bottom of there. Lowering seats nicely in there. And we're going for these thicker diff shims. And we'll, because the diff's worn, we'll pop that in there like so. Your first gear can go, it can't go in yet. What I need to do is I need to put these in, little standoffs. They slide in here. 2, 3, and 4. And what you'll see with these is like that. On the bottom you'll have a plate. This is how you set up your diff. There is different ways you can put these in to the casing to give you different amounts of diff action. You always need 3 plates, always 3, because that takes up the space. But I'm sure you can have 2 of these in front and 1 behind, and it gives you a little bit less locking. Or you can put 2 of these ones in and a single one of them, and it gives you even less locking again. Different quote. I've never tried it. I always run the 3 plates in the standard configuration, which is 1 on the outside, a disc on the outside, a brake on the middle, and a disc on the outside. And what you want to do is a little bit of grease on your hands like that, and I just give them a rub, get them greased up. I shall put, you've got a hex on. There's a hex on the bottom of your gear. Pop that on, pop that on, and pop that on. This is a bit awkward, but the grease helps stick these gears together. So now I've got to try and line these 4 lines, these 4 openings up with these 4 pins, and get the gear through the shim and into the hole like that. If that's went first time, I'll be very, very surprised. It has. So to lock this on so it doesn't fall back out, you want to go with a bearing first, and then a cup like that, and then you pin through the cup. Nice and simple. Pop that there. The way I do these is I pop them on like that, slide them to the bottom, grab a pair of pliers, use this little recess here, and clip and clip, and then that's on there. That's not coming off at all because your clip's got that on. What gear's in, what pins are in, and what clutch pads, technically they're clutch pads, yeah. Next you want to put a little bit of grease on the bottom of your ramp. Just grease it up, get everything nice and greasy, and drop that in. You'll see how it sits. It's nicely on that gear. And I did say we were going 120 degrees, didn't I? So where's that big bloody pin going? There it is. Bit of grease on there, bit of grease on there. Just put these, get these greased up, bring that back in, and these go, some towel on it, put these on this big pin facing inwards like so, and drop it. Everything's greasy. That's the best way. You've got your 120 running that way, 90 running that way. I'll drop that in on the 120 ramps. Get them gears to open up and sit either side of the main gear like that. And then this, Still got grease on my gloves, that's fine. I said 120, so you get your 120 ramp, line it up with the pin, drop it on, and that's your gear. That's it. That's the main setup. What you need now is your crown gear, a little bit of grease on the bottom, and your O-ring sits in here, and the diff shim sits on top, like so. This gear is easier to put in. Oops. See how easy they fall off when they're not greased up. A little bit of grease on your hand, and just give them a rub, and that should put the clutch gear in the middle, and that in there. If you just get it, put them together and just twist it, it finds its own hole. See, it just sits in nicely through the shim, through the O-ring. Line these holes up here. Not massively important at the minute, but again, to lock that in place, your bearing, your diff cup, your final pin, and again the same procedure here. Same procedure here. The pliers clip. Oops, pins come up. That'll get back in. Where are we? Hold that gear there. If it ever comes out, just if it ever comes out, hold the gear on the inside, drop the pin in, and spin the pin, spin the cup, and it'll eventually find the hole. Clip that over the top. Lovely. You see that spinning there now. Them shims were fine. Put them back in the box. They can go in the bin, them ones. And here, this is where other people do things a bit different. Some people will use proper diff oil. I've used that before, but it makes the diff for me feel snotty. When you're running the diff with your hands, it feels like it's not catching, but it does feel sticky, if that makes sense. I've never had that by using Red and Tacky, so that's what I'm going to use. And I've got a teaspoon in here, so a nice lump of that in there. Force it into the hole, clean it off, and just keep forcing it down into the hole, like so. Keep forcing it in, get some more on, and just keep it topped up. Clean the edge off, and I liked it just on something a bit hard. Give it a good, it's glass under here, so I don't want to do it too hard. Give it a good tap. That gets the grease in nicely. We'll clear this edge up here. There's no gasket on these. No gasket. And then your crown gear. Compressor would go off, wouldn't it? Your crown gear and your main gear. You're going to line these holes up here with these pins up, and then they sit through the holes on the top of the diff. Got that first time, and that's the diff back together. And here's the fun part, because 9 times out of 10 when I rebuild a diff, especially in LSD, this will be locked solid. 9 times out of 10 it is. For no reason whatsoever. I don't know why it does it. I can't tell why it does it, but it locks itself solid. until you unloosen a screw and do exactly the same thing again, and then it's free. So we'll go on 2 clicks. Oh, that was 3, but and the moment of truth. If I've gotten the first, this will be the first time it hasn't locked up and I've done it on camera. Oh dear, that's perfectly smooth. You see, I'm twisting one side. It's quite hard because I've got greasy hands. Twist one side one way and the other one twists the other way. That's lovely and smooth. I mean, and there's them shims on the inside. Possibly could have done with one more of the thin ones. These tiny thin ones underneath on top of the O-ring, and the same on that side. But that's actually movement in the pin. I'm not sure if you can see it. I'm not sure if it'll focus. That's movement in the pin, and that's movement in the pin as well. So that diff's shimmed lovely. It's nice and smooth. Give it a clean up, and that'll go back in the box as a spare diff. When you put it in the car, a little bit of red and tacky in the cups, a little bit of red and tacky on the end of the drive shafts. Keep the valves in, slide it on, slide the diff in, drive shafts in, boots on, and that's good to go. That's a perfect diff. Thank you very much. So have a look at the other videos. Anything else? There's a rebuild on some IBS shocks. There is a video on how to change the cups. Not the cups. The eyes on top of the shocks. If you like what you see, just I don't know, give us a subscribe and maybe like the video. Thank you very much. There will be plenty. I'm due a plane this afternoon to the door, so hopefully I'm gonna get a build video done for that. It's literally an easy plane to build, so and it'll go with the collection of other planes that I have. We'll get back to here, and that'll be fine. Thank you very much. See you on the next one.